Hi, this is Wes Fryer, and I'm in Washington, D.C. at the International Spy Museum, and we've just spent about 3 hours going through the museum, and I just thought I would record a few reflections. My son has wanted to come here ever since he heard the Spy Museum was in existence, and a couple of things that really stood out for me. First of all, just the miniaturization of technology. They have some really very cool exhibits about listening devices, bugs, that you would plant in order to record surreptitiously the conversations of others, as well as hidden cameras. And on the note of cameras, it's kind of interesting that you cannot take any pictures at all in the Spy Museum, so weren't able to document any of that. But it is just amazing to see how small those recorders and those bugs have been. One of the things I thought was sort of interesting was this is kind of a history of not only spying, but the Cold War, and a lot of the exhibits focus on different eras of the Cold War, the Berlin Wall, the whole episode. What's that?
Pearl bombing.
Well, right, Pearl Harbor bombing, but communism, McCarthyism, lots of history of the Cold War. And there's a portrayal that during the Cold War, when spying was happening, in the ending video, it is a little bit about well, it's not a little bit about, it's about terrorism, it's about 9/11, and it's about there's some footage of James Woolsey, who is the director of the CIA, talking about the dragon of the Soviet Union being destroyed, but there being all this complexity of different threats from different places. Anyway, you shouldn't walk away from here thinking, oh, spying is this thing of the past. I actually have some friends in the State Department and that have been military attachés in different countries, and it's amazing to hear them talk about the level of spying and bugging and things that go on even today. There's an incredible library of books here, or just bookstore, I guess it's not a library, in the Spy Museum, and just some phenomenal titles of different books about current kinds of things coming out of Iraq, Afghanistan. Really, I'm a big fan of global affairs and political books, as well as historical books. And so anyway, I jotted down the names of several titles that I'm interested in. But it was a lot of fun, a lot of media, but really, like other museums, this is very intensive as far as reading. So it was neat where we came in, we had to memorize some vital statistics about a person to take on that persona, and we answered some questions initially in some touch screens about, if you remembered your cover, and you could answer questions. And so that was kind of neat. There was a little bit of an emphasis on role play. And there were several places where there were touch screens and you could interact and explore satellite pictures and things like that. Probably my number one discovery and learning moment today was finding out that Nazi Germany had actually smuggled Lenin in from Switzerland to get him to Russia and to ferment the revolution of the Bolsheviks and to overthrow the Tsar. And obviously, I guess maybe my Russian history is just not that great, but I never knew that the Germans had actually been responsible for bringing Lenin in, and of course that came back to bite them later. But anyway, very, very interesting, very worthwhile. Certainly important to remember, and I don't know that this is drawn out, how many, ostensible rights that you're going to be giving up if you, the whole encouragement is, would you be a spy? Would you do this? Could you do this? The difference between being a military member in uniform versus someone who is a spy, who is not ostensibly protected by any of the international agreements and things like that would afford military members protections, and those would not be afforded to the spies. So anyway, really fun afternoon, fun first partial day here in Washington, D.C. I'm sure we'll be doing more reporting from the week to come as we adventure around this wonderful capital city in the United States.